Montenegro, the second youngest country in the world, where you can go without clothes and see spectacular mountains, glacial lakes, resorts, the famous Bay of Kotor, and much more. Montenegro, located in Europe in the Balkan region, shares a common past with other nations such as Bosnia, Croatia, Slovenia, Macedonia, and Serbia in the former Yugoslavia. After the collapse of Yugoslavia and the subsequent independence of these nations, Montenegro joined Serbia to form a single country. However, Montenegro's independence was achieved in May 2006 through a referendum, making it the second youngest country on the planet. Geographically, Montenegro borders Bosnia, Croatia, Serbia, and Albania. Although it shares cultural similarities with the Serbs, Montenegro has always had autonomous political aspirations, widely supported by the majority of the population. This quest for political autonomy could bring the country closer to the European Union. With an area of 14,000 square kilometers and a population of only 650,000 inhabitants, Montenegro is mostly Christian but also has some Muslims. Although not yet a member of the European Union, Montenegro uses the euro as its official currency. If you find value in this video, please click the like button. This motivates us to create more quality content for you. Let's examine the current economic situation of Montenegro. This country, which went through a complicated process of separation from Yugoslavia, currently relies, unfortunately, on foreign resources, with domestic production being scarce. This leads Montenegro to import a wide variety of products from neighboring countries and different regions of Europe. If, for some reason, Europe turns its back on Montenegro, the country could face serious economic challenges. Therefore, the presence of foreign investors plays a crucial role in the economy of Montenegro. To date, the nation obtains a large part of its income through foreign companies and tourism. Many come to see the Bay of Kotor, one of the most beautiful bays in Europe, and the Budva Riviera, famous for its medieval architecture, sandy beaches, fancy hotels, and amazing nightlife. On the other hand, the banking sector is still lagging behind in relation to many other countries. Digital banking services are not as advanced, and even the simplest banking transactions often require a visit to a physical bank. Taxes in Montenegro include a personal and corporate income tax rate ranging from 9% to 15%. Montenegro also applies a flat tax of 15% on practically all types of income. Regarding the cost of living, the average rent for a standard apartment in Montenegro generally ranges from €350 to €700. It's important to highlight that the rent amount can vary according to several factors, such as the location of the property, whether it is furnished, and whether the items inside are new or old. For example, suppose you can find a standard apartment in Montenegro for €400. Electricity costs for a family of 2 or 3 people, on average, are around €50. An advantage is that tap water in Montenegro is safe for consumption, which means you don't need to buy bottled water. The average cost of high-speed internet and fiber optics does not exceed €20. In addition to additional expenses such as rental fees and environmental taxes, it adds up to a maximum of €115. For food for 2 or 3 people, it's important to be prepared to spend at least €300 per month. Finally, the current minimum wage in the country is €530. Although this figure is relatively low compared to other European countries, it's important to remember that living costs in Montenegro are generally lower than in most European countries. The public healthcare system in Montenegro does not reach the highest standards, but it is also not considered bad. If you are a manager or employee of a company, you can access it at no additional cost as long as you pay monthly contributions. It's important to highlight that there is also the option of using the private healthcare system that offers a variety of private doctors, generally at affordable prices. For example, a blood test can cost between €20 and €30, making it unnecessary to visit a public hospital. Additionally, a dental checkup can cost approximately €20. They allow great freedom on the beaches when it comes to tourism. What I am mentioning is that when visiting the beaches, it is common to see people around you sunbathing naked without embarrassment. People walk naked along the beaches and swim in the sea in good spirits. Now, an interesting thing is that thanks to the abundance of well-being in the country, crime rates are remarkably low. You can calmly walk alone through the streets of Montenegro at 2 in the morning without fear of robbery. Furthermore, the country lacks hustle and bustle, which means there are no traffic jams. Therefore, you don't waste time in traffic jams. Given the minute size of the country, the vehicle fleet is modest, and finding parking is not a problem. The official language of Montenegro is Montenegrin, but if you are familiar with Bosnian, Serbian, Albanian, or Croatian, you can live peacefully in this country using these languages since they all have roots in the Islamic culture of the past. It's important to note that English is not included in this list, which may be surprisingly disappointing for some visitors. The majority of the country's inhabitants have a limited command of English, and this is particularly evident in government institutions, where communication in English can be challenging. The population of Montenegro has a strong connection with religious beliefs. As you walk through the streets and alleys of this country, it is common to see churches in abundance despite the presence of Muslims and Catholics. The nation is mainly inhabited by Orthodox Christians, making this group the majority, although Muslims form the largest minority group. The average age of the Montenegrin population is approximately 30 years, characterizing the country as young in demographic terms. The average life expectancy in the country is 73 years for men and 78 years for women, exceeding the global average of 68 years. It's important to highlight that Montenegro society tends to be conservative in relation to homosexuality. Therefore, LGBT visitors must be aware of reactions, especially in public environments. They are also not fans of excessive alcohol consumption, considering this a matter of pride. In other words, those from nations such as Lithuania and Ireland may find it a challenging adjustment to this country's stance on alcohol. Montenegro is a very interesting country for those who want to live in Europe but without having to pay the many taxes that are paid in other European countries. It is also a good option for digital nomads and perpetual tourists in general, as the costs are low and it is easy to avoid becoming a tax resident. I would like to know if you have been or intend to visit this small country. Leave your opinion below.